Well, to all the people that are listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Audible, or maybe you're watching on YouTube, my guest today is Big Joe Fauria, my man, professional touchdown dancer, spiritual leader, retreat leader. Went on the Hello Wellness Bali crazy experience with him back in May. Had the time of my life. And Joe, how you doing today, brother?
Zach, what a hell of an intro, dude. I'm really happy to be here. Happy to talk to you, just to catch up. Just so happens that we're recording it because we know it's going to be entertaining and inspiring and abundant. And it's hard to say that, after meeting you, it's hard not to say that my life got better. So to be honest, very honest with you, I'm not just saying it to blow smoke because I'm on your podcast. I really do mean this when I say that you made an impact on me that was not only positive, but long lasting, to the point where I have certain thoughts in my head, and very similar to the majority of the Catholic religions that ask what would Jesus do? Mine is WWZD. There are things where I think to myself, I'm like, oh, if Zach was here, he'd probably be like, We're on a rock floating in outer space.
We're just on a rock floating in outer space. Why are we thinking so much? Let's take more action. Love it, dude. Well, thank you for your kind words, bro. So we obviously met for the first time in Bali on the Hello Wellness retreat, and it was such an incredible experience. And I'm looking forward to going back to Bali. And we learned so much. But what was your biggest takeaway from the Hello Wellness retreat back in May?
Oh, wow, great question. Because so much good stuff came out of it, but I think beyond the success that it gave, that it rendered, I mean, one, the reward of getting the response out of the guests, that this actually was impactful to them, that it did shine through, the message did get received. It was one of those things that really affected me in a way that I was like, okay, well, now I no longer need proof. Like the first, you're having your first retreat, and you saw it firsthand. I mean, there was punches to take on the chin, in the gut. There was failures to overcome, obstacles to overcome, and to learn from. And all that being said, actually seeing it through the whole way and seeing your 2+ years of work come to fruition was the most rewarding thing. But I'm excited to see it continue. It's one of the first times in my life, like football, there was always a ceiling. And my body was eventually going to run out of steam, and I wasn't going to play football anymore. But with the retreats, I'll never have a ceiling of my spirituality. I'll never have a ceiling of my mental health growing, or my overall well-being growing and trying to change people's lives. There is no ceiling to that. That's never ending. I could literally host a retreat until my dying day. Mm-hmm. And that gets me going because I've never had that before, dude. I've never had that before. It was always like, okay, you're going to do this for a finite amount of time. And that, I mean, it could also be said about acting, at the same time, but maybe a little longer, because you can get a little long in the tooth and still be like Morgan Freeman kicking butt. But with this retreats, like this, it's trendy right now, but even if we're doing it, you're still a pioneer. And it's long lasting in a sense where even though it's trending, it's not going anywhere. Right. And it gets me out of bed in the morning. And it's one of those things that I'm super passionate about and really want to see through.
Amazing. Yeah, there was so much positive feedback. I mean, everyone coming up to everybody and saying how much of a great time they had, how it exceeded their expectations. I think the one takeaway I had from the retreat was just being surrounded by so many people that I had so much in common with, that were spiritual, that were focused on personal growth, that cared about health and wellness as much as I did, was really eye-opening, because a lot of the people I know around where I live aren't really too concerned when it comes to their wellness and when it comes to spirituality. And it really raised my vibration. Being in Bali raised my vibration times 2. And then coming back home, I was like, all right, how can I, bring everything I learned in Bali back home? And I've changed a lot of things when it comes to what I give my time, energy, and attention to, and how I live my life and some of my thoughts. But all in all, dude, so much positive feedback, great experience, and I had such a great time, man. So
And
let me
I gotta say before
please.
you ask your next question is that like the listeners need to know, your listeners need to know whether they're tuning in for the first time because they're fans of mine, or they've been listening to you for months for your whole career or this whole podcast that you've had on, is that you, sir, Mr. Zach, you embody it. So that's why I was very, very enlightened by it. It wasn't just smoke and mirrors. It wasn't just a facade. It wasn't just a personality that you put on Instagram. This is something that you live.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you caught me a few times observing you because I'm an observer, but I'm not very sneaky. I'm 6'8", 240 pounds. And whether I make a creak in the deck with my walking, or it's my energy that's observing you from afar. There's a couple times I caught you meditating. I caught you being mindful. I was watching you talk and give your workshops to the guests, and I was for lack of a better term, I was studying you because I wanted to see is this all real?
Uh-huh.
Is this energy? Is this lust for life and lust to help people and desire to change people for the positive way? Is it real?
Is
And I
it?
tell you what, dude, tell your listeners right now from me, the horse's mouth, it's real.
It's
And
real.
it was super cool to see because, like you said, like-minded people. It was cool to be around that. Also being another dude, masculine dude who can like handle stuff, get the work done, but also have a certain connection to spirituality, personal development in a way that's not just feeding your ego. There's a certain calling that you've had, that you've heard, that you're answering.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I was only on my way to acquiring that of something of which my perception was that you've already acquired. So when I was getting that lesson of this being a good thing for me, I also got to watch you navigate through a retreat that I put on and my company put on, but that you were just really navigating through with such ease and confidence that I was like, okay, I want to get to a point where I'm so confident about all the knowledge and education I've given myself in this spiritual journey and this spiritual path and this mental fortitude kind of work stuff that I can do it too. And I tell you what, I learned. I definitely got inspired from you, Zach, and that's why I
Amazing.
wanted to say this on your
Thank
podcast
you.
because people need to hear that because I'm not just saying it because
Thank
this
you.
is, this is what I would be saying if there wasn't any mics around.
No, that means a lot. I appreciate your kind words. And the reason why I do live this and it is all real is because I've seen incredible results. I've seen incredible results from a daily meditation practice. I've seen incredible results from mindfulness exercises. I've had incredible results when it comes to utilizing the law of attraction in my favor because the law of attraction is always working. It's a natural law. It's either working for you or against you. And I chose to have it work for me. So I do appreciate your kind words. And that means a lot to all the people that didn't listen to my last podcast on my retreat experience in Bali. I taught 3 courses on mental health and consciousness, and I helped a lot of people increase their emotional intelligence, be able to have resources and tools to prevent future anxiety and depression. But you, Big Joe, helped a lot of people with their breath work, right? We did a masculinity class too, but I want you to tell the audience today a little bit more about what you did in the last retreat and what you're going to do differently in this retreat if you are going to do anything differently, because I'm interested in hearing what you have to say also.
Cool. Well, yeah, great question because um, being the first one, I was kind of not making it up as I go, but I was like, okay, how is this going to pan out? I have a certain idea, I have a certain plan, but when we make a plan, God laughs. The universe laughs. It's like it's not going to go that way, so you got to be ready. So I was ready because I have been doing the work in this realm, in this physical realm, in this physical
On
world. I'm
yourself.
doing the
On
work.
yourself.
Yes,
Right.
on myself exactly, and then it was getting comfortable with sharing it with others, like because I am so careful with. I don't want to be that person that is impressing a certain agenda or sharing a certain ego driven type of lifestyle, but I want to show that it can be done in a graceful way, and that I mean I believe in it, and the breath work and meditation and practice that I've been doing over the last couple of years got me to a point where I produced my own DMT, and then it gave me the comfortability to go on a plant ceremony, which I thought was taboo, which I was scared of. But all these things that, you know, came thereafter my practice were these branches of greatness. But the actual stump, the real strength of the tree, was my own practices, and then I was able to spread out my tree branches, if you will, and share that with others. So when it came to the breath work and meditation, I was only sharing not what I thought I was an expert at, but what I was comfortable with, all the practice that I'd done on my own. So when it came to that, it became easy. And I was so worried that it wasn't going to be easy because it was my first time doing it on a large scale. And if there's anything I would change, it was my ability to discern or understand that not everyone learns at a different curve. Everyone has their own learning curve. I remember doing some breathwork sessions, and I remember like a third of the class not really following or not really being on the rhythm. And looking back at it, I'm like, damn, next time I want to be better at breaking it down for those that are green behind the ears and never done any sort of breathwork or meditation. And I found that out later on in the week of the retreat when I started doing one-on-ones, and people were like, I want to do some breath work. I'm like, oh, we've been doing it. Like, what's wrong? They're like, okay, well, I don't know how to do it. So I broke it down better, and I realized I was like, hey, there is just like in football or in anything else, not everyone's it needs to be coached the same. Mm-hmm. Not everyone likes to be grilled, but some people do like to be yelled in the face, and it motivates them. So when I was doing my breathwork sessions and my meditations, there was times when I was like, you know, almost like, hey, just learn how to swim. Just go. Just throw you in the water. And now looking back at it, I know that I could have done better having broken it down, gotten to the fundamentals, and really just kind of like starting from square one and getting everybody comfortable to do the things that I was teaching. Yeah. And that's the only thing I would really critique myself with. But besides that, I mean, what I was sharing was something that made me a believer in this spiritual space, which is just, I mean, it could be frightening, it could be daunting, it could be something that is misunderstood or, like I mentioned, taboo to a lot of people. But how I really explain it is like, you can look at every religion, for the most part, every following. They have certain fundamentals, they have certain foundations, they have certain pillars, and all those pillars, like in perpetuity, are all the same. Buddhism, Judaism, Christianity, Jehovah, all of that stuff. Be kind to others. Be grateful.
All the same principles.
You know, all the same principles. They're just dressed differently and have different accessories on top of it and different rules associated with it, which is only the rules of man. And that's when religion gets a little muggy to me. When I think at the bare bones of it, the actual foundation and pillars that we're talking about that are really throughout the whole scope of religion and all types of followings, the same thing. That's what I choose to follow. Yep. And that's what I found with these wellness retreats and spirituality. If you just break it down like in an easy, format, it's pretty easy to follow.
And I'm glad you brought up a point, because that was the next topic I want to talk about. Because first of all, you did such a great job. Hello Wellness, this was the first retreat. This was the first retreat that Hello Wellness put on, and you did a great job. I had a great time. The 20-something, 30-something people that came obviously had an incredible time. But to all the people that are listening right now that are interested in Bali, maybe you're thinking about going, maybe you think this is something that you're ready to take on, or maybe you're completely in your comfort zone and ready to get out of your comfort zone. I've never been to Bali. This was a 34-hour travel day for me. Obviously, I've been to other countries, but I was a little nervous too. But you guys, this is not a retreat for a specific type of person. This retreat is for anybody who is interested in their health and wellness, who's focused on becoming a better person, that enjoys traveling. So if you like to travel, if you want to go to Bali and you care about your health and wellness, which is every single person that listens to my podcast, because look, guys, I was on TV 8 years ago. And if you are still listening to my podcast, the 300, 400 people that listen to every episode, you clearly care about what I have to say. And if you're interested at all about, possibly going to Bali and meeting Big Joe and learning more about all these things that we're talking about, this isn't super, super spiritual. It's a mixture of fun. It's a mixture of play. It's a mixture of breath work. It's a mixture of meditation. Head over to hellowellness.com. Is that the website, Big Joe?
Hello Wellness
HelloWellnessRetreats.com. Awesome. So why don't you tell the audience also what they can be expecting on this next retreat in September?
It's a beautiful intro, dude. The way you paint the picture with your words. I mean, I could just be listening on this podcast for the whole time. But to be real, it's like you said. It's there's a reason why it's called Hello. You're greeting every type of pillar, every type of wellness aspect that we are introducing. And like I mentioned earlier about fine tuning how I educate and how I teach. In that moment, it might not have been for all levels, but it is supposed to be for all levels. And then, especially for the next one, it's going to be for if you've never done breath work or if you've been practicing breath work for your entire life, it's for you. If you've never done yoga or you've been doing yoga for 15 years, it's for you. If you've been in the gym since you were 12 or you really want to get into a certain shape, it's for you. So it's introductions and saying hello to every type of wellness without scaring you from doing one for the entire time. Because I've done those retreats. I've done a retreat where it's just yoga. And I was like, damn, I'm all yogaed out. And I've done a retreat where it's a shaman doing the ohms, talking about his ego death and all this stuff. And I'm like,
super
damn,
deep. Yeah,
like
super deep. It's not like that. It's not like that.
No, it's not. It's we can't, by the way, we're not scared of getting deep because we do get deep, we do get vulnerable, we do open it up, but it's a way that's more welcoming and that's more enjoyable. Because here's the thing, you're going to be uncomfortable, but there's a certain element that we want to invoke that makes you comfortable being uncomfortable, not being uncomfortable to a point where it's like, okay, like a lot of people do these days, I'm going to start something and you didn't get that instant gratification, so then you stop. This right here is getting you to a point to be comfortable traveling, to realize that there's a certain balance that you can create within your life while traveling, while working from home, or while being away for a certain amount of time from your family or your loved ones, where you're not just shoving food in your face and boozing all day or whatever, or getting into weird stuff. Like you're traveling, you're having your fun, but you're also taking care of the things that need to take care of so you can live that balanced lifestyle. So that's what I wanted to implement, because we went through a few pivots when we were creating this business model. And it started off as a fitness thing. And I was like, damn, like we're going to make people travel 6,000 miles for a boot camp? Nah, let's rebrand. Then it was full spiritual. And we had like 6 shamans that were going to come by and like do this certain stuff, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, this is scary. It's going to terrify people. Then we finally figured out, okay, well, let's just give a taste of each one. And then eventually, as we grow and as we go on through the years, we're gonna morph. This retreat's gonna be different than this retreat. This is gonna be a different spot. This is gonna be with different leaders. This is gonna be with a different goal in mind. But right now, it's the introduction, the saying hello, the things that the biggest thing that I do is I don't like giving advice. I don't like listening to anyone's advice, because I think the best advice that I've gotten or that I could tell anybody is to never listen to anyone's advice. You can take it into account, but unless you really offer true experience without throwing your agenda or throwing your opinion at somebody, my thing is I only learned from people sharing their experiences. The best thing to do for yourself is to not listen from your mistakes, or not to learn from your mistakes. Learn from the mistakes of others. And that's how that's how you get it done, is by listening to experiences and finding the parallels that can line up with yours. Because not every shoe fits the same foot, right? And it doesn't fit the same. Like, a Jordan 3 can fit not so good on my toes compared to yours. It's the same shoe. But so I'm getting a little long with the metaphor, but this is something that could be for everyone if you have the right mindset going
and
into
even
it.
if you don't have the right mindset going into it, take the risk. What do you have to lose? You're going to Bali. So the next retreat, correct me if I'm wrong, September 18th through the 25th. And I hope
we have two
okay,
slated.
and hopefully you guys have spots open. And if someone is still listening to this episode, you're 21 minutes into this episode, and if you're interested in thinking about going to Bali, you just want to open up dialogue with Joe, you can follow him on Instagram at Big Joe, BIGJOE.
Yes.
DM him, ask him any questions you want about the next retreat, September 18th through the 25th in Bali.
Yes, September 18th to 25th in Bali. It's for a week. I mean, it's one of those things where you go to the gym or something like that, and you never leave the gym and be like, oh man, I really regret that workout. No, you're sweating, you're happy. Whatever was on your mind is now clear. Whatever worry you had is now gone because you got out that anger, you got out that energy, and you did something for yourself. Same thing goes with this retreat. You're gonna go to it. It might sound risky, it might sound crazy, but taking that risk, jumping in the pool without testing the water, and then realizing that there's no possible way you will come out of that feeling like, okay, I really wasted my time or wasted my money. There's no way. This is one of the most inexpensive retreats on the market, and we are offering a slew of options that no other retreat is really doing. This is an opportunity. One, if you are listening to this podcast and you reach out to me, we will get you a discount on the
the Zach Rance podcast discount.
Yes, that is an official discount.
The Zach Rance podcast discount. And first of all, guys, any of my fans that are listening that want to go to see me there, the only reason I cannot make it is because my Ironman is 7 days later. I'm going to be in Barcelona September 28th. And I am running a 140.6 mile race in Barcelona.
Amazing.
So I'm doing Ironman. It's the only reason why I'm not able to be there. But Big Joe, dude, I wish I could see your face in Bali again. Maybe the next retreat, we can do it up again.
And that's going to be after Christmas on the 28th for that week of New Year's. And even if I might not want to wait till that long. I know you're in the Sunshine State. So I might come see you over there and congratulate you after your hard Ironman.
Amazing. Love it. Well, Big Joe, you got anything else for the audience to say? Any wise words you want to leave them with today?
Man, I mean, one wise words is that whomever is listening right now, you are already wise because you are listening to someone that cares, someone that puts a lot of effort and hard work into what they're doing, not only the podcast, but with their life, their relationship, their friendships, and it inspires me. So with that, I'm more comfortable talking about myself. This is something that I'm passionate about, the retreats. I played in the NFL. I did that. I saw that out. Then I started acting, and it's something that I still am very passionate about. But this retreat is something that is my first time ever thinking of like actually leaving a legacy, because I'm a big believer in having any sort of interaction, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a romantic relationship, whether it's a 5-second interaction at the McDonald's drive-thru. I want that person to feel better having met me, not just because I'm 6'8". It's because the energy I give, without expecting anything in return, I want that person to feel better, because there was a time in my life where I was super sad, and I want no one in this world, not even my worst enemy, to feel that way. So I will kill them with kindness, and I hope to implement that and share that into a point where everyone else is living the best day ever. Because today is, I'm calling you one of my pals from Croatia to Florida, talking about all the awesome things we're doing in the world. And I'm just really, really proud of what we accomplished together in May, what we we're accomplishing right now on this podcast, and in the future we will accomplish together in our future endeavors. Because I think very highly of you, dude, and I appreciate you giving me the time to speak and also just catch up real quick. And it's one of those things where I'm really grateful that, our paths cross, and I'm excited to see, water the plants a little more, see where it grows.
Love it. The best day ever.
Yeah.
My man, Big Joe. To all those people that are listening on Apple, Spotify, Audible, if you're watching on YouTube, head over to Instagram at Big Joe. Follow Hello Wellness Retreats on Instagram. Go to their website, hellowellnessretreats.com. But if you're interested in going to Bali, I would suggest you guys DM Big Joe. Let him know you listen to the podcast. Let him know what you think. And Big Joe, my man, thank you so much for your time today. It was great seeing you again.
Yes,
and I'm looking forward to meeting up again in Bali.
Yes, and I'll definitely get out to you before you do your Ironman. I want to wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can, because you're the most motivating guy in the fucking world. And see if I can give you some motivation. All right, not like you need it, but I'm sure
I might need it. I can use it. You can never have too much motivation.
You're right.
So I do appreciate that. Thank you, my man.
Of course, dude.
What's up, guys? I want to thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We have hundreds of weekly listeners, and I wanted to make sure that everyone listening is hyper aware of how I can serve them best. So if you're interested in hiring me as your life coach or hiring me as your nutritionist, or maybe you just want to get some free advice, head over to lifecoachzach.com, book a free 30-minute consultation, serious inquiries only, and I would love to ask you serious, open-ended, powerful questions that are going to help you pivot your life in a better direction. Let's co-create an action plan and really step in to the greatest version of ourselves.